Greetings from Bangalore and from Shishti on the occasion of World Industrial Design Day, marked by the World Design Organization in Montreal and by CII in Delhi. Today, one of the topics that is of serious interest and concern in the world of design is the idea or the concept of ethics. In a few words, I'm going to highlight how this is going to play an increasing role in decisions that we make in all professions and all facets of life, including industrial design. To explain the points, I will think of the life that we live in as three intersecting worlds. The first world is our physical world, the reality in which we live in, our built environments, the cities we've developed, the products we have made, the services we render, and the natural world in which they are set. The second ring, very importantly, is our mental world, the world of our ideas, the world that is in the complexity of our minds, the world that blends and allows us to order and make sense of both our experiences, our reality, and go further than that with our imagination. The third ring that intersects in our lives is our world of emotions and of our belief systems. This goes to the root of our identity, our histories, and the places and events that have made us who we are. Now, when you look at this as the mathematician would look at it, as a Venn diagram with three intersecting rings, these three worlds, in the middle of it is the intersection of these three rings, is the place in which we act. As human beings, we act at the intersection of our lived world, of our belief systems and our identity, and of our mental world and the ideas we make, generate, and create. Ethics, therefore, today has the most important role to play in affecting our decisions because they also impact the quality of life of both the human and non-human world in which we live. I request and I ask all designers who are part of the World Design Organization and of the CII India to make this an important facet in building the future of industrial design in the world today. Thank you.
Thank you, CII, for coming together with the World Design Organization to celebrate World Industrial Design Day 2025. I wish you and the industries and design communities across India and the world a very happy WIDD. Let us deploy design as a strategic partner now to be able to innovate ethically, to be able to deploy AI and generative AI, to be able to create more regenerative materials and technologies and be better environment stewards. Let us be ethical and put people, purpose, planet, places all before profit. Let us be smart and recognize that compliance and policy are actually strategic advantages in a world that is becoming increasingly conscious. Let us also recognize that we've inherited a beautiful planet Earth, a really good planet, and let us not turn all of the resource that is available to us into refuse. Let us refuse to do that. Let us also reconsider, rethink every decision that we make, not just for the here and now, but for 7 generations to come. Let us collectively, peacefully get together and design a better world.
As a lifestyle and fashion product designer and head of design at Titan Watches, I believe that design at its core is far more than form or function. It is intent made visible in every decision which we make as designers about what we create, how we create, and why we create has an ethical dimension. On this World Industrial Design Day and in this design ethics conversation, it is imperative to rethink and redraft design process and ask questions. What does it mean to design ethically, especially in India? For me, to design ethically means to design with empathy, with contextual awareness, with a strong sense of responsibility towards people and the planet. I am fortunate to be part of the Tata Group, a very value-led organization with over 66% of its profit going back to philanthropy. Titan inherits a legacy where community before commerce is not just a slogan but a very live practice. These values translate into every design decisions, from how we source materials, how we design, to how we manufacture, and to how we serve the community. For example, in Uttarakhand, which is a northern state of India, where Titan has an assembly unit, we partnered with the NGO not to do just a manufacturing, but we helped them to replenish over 126 million liters of water annually by restoring water ecosystem of entire hilly area, which has saved rural women's many hours every day which they used to spend on collecting water. So this is, I would say, ethical system design, not on paper but on the ground. Inside our factories, we have reimagined how inclusion works. We have women-led assembly lines of watches, which are not just a diversity metric, they are demonstration of what happens when dignity and skill are prioritized together. On the environmental side, our production unit, in fact both for jewelry and watches, increasingly rely on wind power and rainwater harvesting. They are not just operational efficiencies, they are design decisions with a very long-term view and very long-term perspective. Even in our products, we strive to embed conscious design wherever it matters most. Our quartz watches are engineered for long battery life. Our automatic watches reduce electronic waste by removing batteries altogether. And more importantly, we design for lifetime serviceability so that what we create is not disposable but durable, repairable, relevant over entire lifetime. Of course, as a designer, we should also be very honest that not every product what we make can carry the full burden of ethics and sustainability. There are material limits, technical constraints, commercial realities, but that's where our broader responsibility begins. If the product can't carry at all, we must design ecosystem that do, through ethical sourcing, through, I would say, inclusive environment, through very diversity-friendly employment, through circular systems that give back more than what they take. Sometimes the sustainability doesn't come from the product, but from the communities it supports, from the future it enables. I also believe that design is not just about the things which we produce, it's about the values which we encode, the system which we shape, and the long-term impact which we set in motion. Because in this century, the most beautiful thing which we design should also be most responsible. Thank you.
Namaste, good morning, and a great momentous day of the World Industrial Design Day 2025. Namaste to all my colleagues, changemakers, game changers, fellow designers across the globe. It's both an honor and a sense of responsibility to represent as the head of institution of United World Institute of Design, a constituent college of Karnavati University, on an initiative by the World Design Organization with our trusted partner and collaborator, the Confederation of Indian Industry. This year's theme, Let's Get Ethical, strikes deep chords, as also it brings in how we must go back to the drawing boards and look at all our systems and processes which we have followed, are they on the stand on the compass and the strength of how ethical we are. We need to move from form, function to ethics in this very, very disrupted world, more so with the algo of AI making deep inroads into way design is happening. In UID, we draw inspiration while making our curriculum, our learning outcomes, the course outcomes and product and our program outcomes, where ethics stand not as a module but deeply embedded in all our systems. We draw inspiration also from the UN SDG goals 2030. They form the basis of our vision, mission and all the program outcomes. We also look at how the Industrial Revolution 5.0 talks about societies, about how we need to be more human-centric, resilient, and look at the intent at how we function in the world and the landscape of industrial design. At UID, we look at few initiatives. The first among them being Tattva, which is meaning, and Shilpataru, which means giving power to the artisans, where we bring in a great initiative called Discover Design in India. Students go to remote clusters, villages, artisans live that life, eat the same food, sleep in the similar quarters for a week plus, and bring back something very, very profound. That is, they do the craft documentation, they look at how over the years they have used repurposing, sustainability as part of how they look at the technology of design processes which are followed across the length and breadth of the country. We know that the power structures of AI and algo have unleashed a huge new dimension to design. So students are empowered, they in case are encouraged to interrogate the power structures, look at how they can make it unbiased. So when we look at these as parts of how we design, we also ask them to look at supply chains. I think World Design Organization has come up with a theme which is so much important in this disrupted world. On behalf of Karnataka University, it's a great momentous day. We reaffirm our commitment to the global community of designers. So let us get ethical, let us get grounded. Jai Hind.
Namaste, I'm Aditi Srivastava, President of Pearl Academy, speaking to you all from New Delhi, India. Last month in Bangalore, I joined CII's roundtable to help shape India's new design policy. Today, with the World Design Organization's global platform, I'm very honored to explore a holistic vision of ethical design grounded in technology, society, environment, and justice. Ethics in design is evolving, no longer just about do no harm. It's now a strategic discipline that guides sustainable production, human-centric systems, and equitable innovation. At Pearl, we've embedded ethics across our pedagogy, not as an add-on, but as a foundation. From value-sensitive design and participatory methods to auditable frameworks that incorporate agency, accountability, and inclusion. In India, fast fashion is booming, and I just read about it in Fiber to Fashion. We are set to grow from around 10 billion USD in 2024 to 50 billion by 2031. But sadly, 30% of the garments remain unsold, triggering massive waste downstream. Predictive AI like Style Lumia reduces overstocking by up to 50%, cutting both loss and environmental impact. Sustainable tech like AR, digital try-ons, and virtual fashion are also reshaping carbon footprints and user engagement. Ethical design thrives on inclusion. Value-sensitive design ensures we consider direct and indirect stakeholders, embracing participatory inputs and human rights framework. Whether designing for rural artisans or differently abled users, we foreground dignity, co-creation, and access, not just functionality. In India, interestingly, the government is investing rupees 990 crores via India AI alongside OpenAI Academy initiatives to build safe, localized AI systems spanning agriculture, healthcare, and education. These policies affirm that ethical design must be systemic, culturally aware, and regulatory supported. To the global design community, the question no longer is, can we design ethically? But will we? Whether it's tech, fashion, product, or service design, let's rigorously ask who is included and who isn't. What are the environmental and societal impacts? Is transparency, fairness, and dignity baked in? Ethics isn't a checkbox, it's the heartbeat of design. At Pearl Academy, we nurture designers who don't just create, they care. Thank you, WDO, and audiences around the world for joining this virtual discourse. Together, let's build a future where design uplifts people, planet, and purpose. Dhanyavad.
Hi, I'm Professor Gopal Meena. Let's get ethical is a topic of discussion today in celebration of World Industrial Day. Let's get ethical is important more than ever because of emerging technologies and AI, which is disrupting the world of design practice and designers across the world. However, AI has a lot of challenges in terms of transparency, in terms of non-biasness, in terms of privacy, in terms of data protection, in terms of how AI can be responsible and can be accountable. However, I feel AI is a great tool for designers to enhance the productivity. However, designers need to be very thoughtful in terms of how to use an AI in the design process and which part of the design process AI can help them to enhance their productivity, and which part of the process should be human-led to enhance the creativity, problem-solving aspect, and other research space and other spaces. However, looking at industrial design space in the globe at this point of time, designers need to be very thoughtfully clear in their mind in terms of using the sustainable materials and what kind of manufacturing which is bringing components together, because they should be very thoughtful in terms of how the recycling and upcycling of the products going to happen in the second life. For example, as per my knowledge, mobile phones are one of the most challenging product to recycle because of the multiple components which comes together in terms of manufacturing, and taking each component out while recycling or upcycling or the second life of a product becomes much more challenging. Hence designers need to be very thoughtful that what are the eco-friendly materials which needs to be incorporated into designing a smart product which is the future. We are living in the smart world, hence the entire the world around us will be smart, and the smart products around it's going to be the future, because we are living the social life and we need results and clicks now. So hence designers response the design it's a huge responsibility of designers to relook into the product innovations and product design space. However, I feel the great way to look back into Data Ram's 10 principle of design and innovate and iterate in that space, because I believe the future is there to be more sustainable, to be more honest, to be more ethical. That's where I feel the designers should look into. However, I feel there is a possibility of relooking at few approaches of design. For example, a human-centric can be a humanity-centric, where we look into not a very particular a kind of as stakeholders, but we look into the entire the humanity as a space to design for the problems of the societies, for betterment of the society, for the betterment of people. However, I feel also a design thinking can be like, for example, a future thinking process where we are not looking into a short-term solutions. We are creating more sustainable solutions and sustainable practices for the future. So thank you so much, and happy World Industrial Day to everyone.
Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Anuradha Chatterjee. I'm the Pro-Vice Chancellor at Art University and the Dean of the School of Design and Innovation in Bangalore. Thank you CII and World Design Organization for giving me this opportunity to speak on the eve of World Industrial Design Day 2025 on the theme of Let's Get Ethical. I'm a spatial designer and architect by trade and an academic leader over the last 20 plus years. At our university, we are really focused on the theme of care, care for self, care for the planet, care for people and communities. I want to talk a little bit about the initiatives and the structures we've put in place to really engage with this idea of ethics, which is so much more than just a word. I want to talk about the exhibition we did on titled The Design for Justice, which was looking at intersections of design and social justice in Chittrakala Parishad last year. And this year we looked at ethics of AI in the exhibition we did at Bangalore International Centre on the topic of for, with and against AI. We also did a conference, a student-led conference called New Wave 2023, which was focused on design, technology and sustainability. And our forthcoming design conference is about decolonizing design. So fundamentally, our pedagogy is centered around ideas of ethical practice, resourcing and designing with people and planet. We are also a school that really looks at narratives and practices and constraints around mental health and design. That's something really important for us. So well-being is part of design ethics, and that's something that we not only practice as a work culture, but also something that we ask our students to engage with. We're also a school that is building capacity in how do you structure design curriculum around neurodivergent learners and teachers. So these are some of our broader areas in which we are practicing design education, and we really wanted to bring this to you today. One of the things that I think we really have to go much deeper into is empathy. And I've seen the word empathy being used fairly safely when it concerns design. And I think we really have to be able to put ourselves in the shoes of others, others who are facing adversity. And I think designing for and designing with people in circumstances of adversity is actually really important. You just have to open the news channels today to understand where the work of the designer really lies, and the idea of emergencies of all kinds, whether it's around peace and conflict in society, or whether it's around disasters. So whether it's a crash of the Air India aircraft, which has led to people grieving, or geopolitical situations that has led to migration, refugee situations, and really lack of peace and emergence and kind of a domination of conflict situations. I really think designers have to figure out a way to intervene in spaces that are an emergency, that really matters. And I think that's really how we can really tap into what we understand as empathy in design. So I think let's go forward in solidarity around this idea of ethical practice and narratives and paradigms in design. So thank you very much for hearing me and for allowing me to talk on this topic today. Thank you so much.
My name is Anuj Prasad, and I'm the founder of Desmania Design, a design consulting firm based out of New Delhi area in India. It's really heartening to know that WDO has fixed up ethical design as the theme for this year. As a design professional, I've always felt that ethics is something which is embedded in design. It is something which we just can't do away with. I think the way we deal with our customers, the way we deal with our clients, the way we deal with our profession, the eco-sensitivity which the designers should have is something that is all based on ethics. I think it's all to do with our own value systems, the way we have lived our life, the way our culture has imposed certain values, the way we have inherent eternal values with us of being honest, of being compassionate, of having patience to deal with things. I think all this leads to ethical design. I think ethical design also means to be fair with anything that we do. We need to do a fair business. We need to do, a fair dealing with our clients. We need to be fair to our people, to the team, which is actually putting in a whole lot of hard work to carry forward design as a profession and your company. So ethics is to do with all fairness, and this is something which has to come from within. We need to be really honest to our profession, and I think design as a profession is also getting skewed towards creating more gizmos, enticing people. Aesthetics is being seen as something which is to create greed in people, a big differentiation. Why can't we just deal with aesthetics as something which is so much more deeper? Aesthetics should actually bring in joy rather than something which is just an excitement for a very short period of time. So I think as designers, of course, perceptions are very, very important, and we are known to give these perceptions, whether it is the end consumer or whether it is a business or any other entity. But beyond perception is something which we really need to look at when we are taking the course of ethical design. We need to create honest experiences. We need to find the real need gap which is sitting in the users, in the environment, in the Mother Earth. And I think we need to deal with all these things together to give a holistic design. And going forward, I feel that we need to also understand the whole concept of end of life of any product and life after death of any product. How does it get disposed is something which we need to actually start with rather than just looking at the user needs. So eco-sensitivity and user-centricity, they have to go hand in hand in the ethical design. Apart from that, I think ethics also means being compassionate, and being compassionate not only to the humanity, but also to the much, much larger sphere of things which encompass different species and earth, flora, fauna, and the whole environment put in together. We need to if empathy is the word to start with, I think we need to also add compassion to it and give designs which are more sensitive, more crisp, optimized design which don't have frills in it. I think these are the areas which will lead us to really creating ethical design practices in our profession. Apart from that, I think another big virtue which ethics brings in is patience, which means listening to people and listening to the nature, listening to your client, listening to the user, and not really reacting to what they are saying and not come with a knee-jerk reaction with a product or a service, but rather respond to it by really pondering over it with some poise, with some pause, and creating something which is more meaningful, more soulful, and not just for our own race of human beings, but for the entire planet. And I think that is what ethical design would mean to me. I would urge all the designers, the entire design community, to really create a belief system in ethical design and not just talk about it, but also practice it. We have to practice ethical design not by just preaching, but really manifesting it through our own practice. We are wishing all the best to all the designers, the design community across the world, and we want to really see a completely different world driven by design.